Onitama, an elegant and simple game of martial tactics. Now, I do not know that this game is much about martial arts. It really doesn't feel like martial arts at all, but definitely it is elegant and simple. That part of what is announced is to be found in here. The box comes in this, well, unusual size and shape. It has a magnetic latch here. Very nice presentation, very nice presentation. And it comes with a board, which is the same, sort of a little mat, like the mat that you have for Magic the Gathering, or pretty much what your mouse pad is made of. Each player has 5 pawns. One is the leader, the boss, or master, and then you have 4 acolytes. Kinda, sorta, I guess that's, the initiate slash acolytes. And you place them on the board in that configuration at the beginning of the game. Then you shuffle these cards with the martial art moves. As you can see, some are blue, some are red, and some are green, and that color in the middle of the cards has no function, so it's just distracting. I wish they had all the same color. I don't see the advantage there. Maybe there is, and maybe you'll let me know in your comments what the difference in this color is for. You shuffle these cards, and then you draw 5. You give 2 to each player, and then 1 is placed in the middle, or I should say on the side, is not in the middle of the board. And the other cards are not used, so only 5 cards are used each game. So as you can see, there's going to be huge variety of gameplay. You can't just fall in love with a single strategy and try to implement it each time, because the cards that your strategy is based on may not be in play at all, or only some of them are. And now they interact with other cards, so you have to rethink your strategy entirely. The first player to go is the player indicated here in the small stamp on the card in the middle. In this case, it is blue. It could have been red, but again, only the color of that stamp matters, not the color in the middle of the thing. So red goes first. When it is your turn, you execute one of the moves allowed by your cards. Then you take the card that you use. Suppose that I use the boar. You put it there, and you take the one in the middle. Then the opponent goes, they execute one of the moves that they have, and they discard it there. So basically, you will, after you use a card, you place it in an area, and you know that will go to the other player the next turn. So it's not only about be careful what you use, but also be careful what you give to the opponent. By the way, how do you use the cards to accomplish your moves, to perform your moves? Probably just by looking at the illustrations here, you already figured it out. The black square and the diagram is you, or I should say the piece that you decide to activate with that card. And the color squares are where the piece can go. For example, if I want to activate this, initiate here, spending this card, then the initiate can go here or here, and then I put the card in there, I get the tiger, etc, etc. Or if I were to play the rabbit, in this situation right now, I could only go here, because the other spaces have pieces of my own, or they would lead me out of the board. You can capture pieces simply by enemy pieces by landing on them, and there are 2 ways of winning the game. One is to eliminate, to capture the master of the opponent, and if that is not possible, you win by sitting on the throne of the opponent with your master. Really neat idea, because this way, if a lot of pieces have been eliminated, you have just a couple of pieces that can jump around and never catch each other, then it becomes a different game, because it's about reaching a certain objective. I really like that. It feels safe there, that you have to plan not just about killing the opponent, but also protecting your throne at the same time. And this is the game. It's as simple as that. The cards will bring very different approaches, very different ways for you to think about your strategy. In each game, the dragon is very interesting, because you can see you fly from one area to another, and it's sort of like non-linear. Also, you cannot perform it, in a lot of positions, a lot of directions, because it so spreads out. The boar, it's kind of dull, but it's good, reliable, orthogonal movement. The rabbits, you can see, is a little tricky. But then there are a lot of other cards. The horse, kind of like a variant of this guy. The eel, very strange. And there's another one that is sort of like specular to that. There you go, it's the cobra. The elephants, the mantis. After a while you look at them, they kind of look like pieces of Tetris. So these are the moves. The point is, again, that you can never rely on any card being in the game before you start. The tiger is also cool because it looks like he's taking a step back before jumping and just ambushing the opponent. Simple, linear, quick to play, a chess variant. That is the game. Now, is it good? I personally enjoy it. There are a couple of things that I enjoy very much. The simplicity, and first and foremost, it's a linear, clean, elegant design. It achieves a lot without not a lot of rules, without very few rules. And it feels very logical. It feels very, everything makes sense that is in here. Also, because of its abstract nature, the beautiful presentation, it can be easy to convince players that are not regular players of games to play it. For example, I haven't tried it yet, but this is the kind of game that I can get my wife to play with me. If things get too thematic, she's not into them. If there are too many rules, she doesn't want to. She's not interested in learning them. That's not what she's looking for when it comes to entertainment. This is the kind of game that I can totally see her playing. I totally see not objecting too much. Once I promise her that I'll be able to explain the rules in 2 minutes. Elegant, clear, it's about capturing opponents, but it doesn't feel violent at all because it's so abstract. What it is, it can be tricky though. I wouldn't say a negative, just an aspect of the game that some people may not like is how fairly unforgiving it is. I mean, if players are more or less evenly matched, then it's about kind of like holding your line and building an opportunity and waiting for the opponent to give you an opening, which is a fancy way of saying to make a mistake. And a single mistake can be the end of the game. Just overlooking that the place where you place the guy may be captured by the opponent, simply what gives you the game. Overlooking the place where you put your guy can be captured loses you the game, doesn't give you the game, gives the game to the opponent. Of course, it can be more refined than that. I'm manipulating the cycle of cards in such a way that I corner you, etc., etc. But if you're giving me an opening, if you're just standing in front of me when I can capture you, I'm gonna go for it. I'm gonna say, no, wait a second. I want to do it the fancy way. Maybe I do, but the point is the game can be really unforgiving. Now, that to me would be a huge deal breaker if it was a game that lasts an hour. Then if it comes down to like a single move and it's just a moment of distraction, it feels like the rest of the game was trivial. This is a game that does not overstay its welcome. It lasts like 5 to 10 minutes. So if I did make that mistake, I give you the game because of that overlooking of a single move, whatever. We just set it up again and we play it again. So that's precisely because it's so simple, so quick, and it can change so much. It really has that one more game mechanics, one more game psychological pull. You always want to play one more game because you think you can win next time, or you can win better, you can win in fewer moves next time. And so it's fairly addictive. I also like the fact that there is an equalizing factor. I'm not a chess player, so I just cannot play chess because I'm completely incompetent. And that chess is a game that has a school, has a tradition. People take classes, people read books about it. People are really serious about that. And I know that applies to a certain extent to any game, but when it comes to chess, there's some people that are just really scared, and it wouldn't be fun for them to play with me, and absolutely it would just be an exercise in complete masochism for me to play with them. I don't have this problem here. Again, I don't know that I want to play with a chess master here, but the fact that every game is new, every game is fresh. You have to think of your strategy on your feet as you're going, as the game is already proceeding, and you have to also take into account, again, the cycle of the cards. It adds that element that makes the game feel very fresh. It makes it look like everybody's starting on, on the same, from the same place. Being familiar with the game in general, of course, gives you an advantage, but it just feels like it's almost a new game every time, that you have to think in a different way. So it has that equalizing factor that makes each game feel very fresh, and I like that very much. The components are great. The game is pretty portable. It's not the smallest or the lightest box that there is, but there is also much worse. In general, Onitama really keeps the promise of being an elegant and simple game. I do not know about the martial tactics, but definitely I like the elegance, the simplicity, the beauty of the components, and just all of the subtleties and nuances that can emerge from gameplay once you become familiar with the philosophy of it. So, really good game. I'm impressed. I'm happy that I played it. I went to my friendly local game store. They gave me a demo. I played it. I lost horribly, but I really enjoyed it. I thought that I would enjoy it more, so I bought it, and now I have it, and I'm glad that they do, because Onitama really is a fine, nice filler. Heck, it is a filler for sure, but one that sometimes you may find yourself spending the whole game night just playing one game after the other. Also, if you play it as a filler, it is nice, enjoyable, elegant, and definitely a very pleasant filler.